Market.
The 3 stars of Sunday.
Number 3.
They're down 10. Stevenson looking for a block. He got it from Myers, and there he goes. Kiss him goodbye. That is a touchdown. 31-yard run. Stevenson.
Number 2.
Joe drops back to throw. His pass caught by Chase at the 50. Runs through an arm tackle.
Nice.
Down the sideline. He's going to take it to the house. Jamar Chase, a 60-yard touchdown. And the Bengals have the lead.
Number 1.
Single high safety blitz coming. Burrow trying to step away from the rush. He does.
Get in.
Runs up the middle of the field to the
Joe.
10, the 5. Touchdown.
Nice.
As Joe Burrow crosses the goal line with the ball in his left hand, fully extended, goes into the back corner of the end zone and spins it like he's rolling dice.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
For Sports Network for the next 2 hours. New week, new playbook, new set of plays. This is what we do here on BSN. We're powered by FantasyAlarm.com, sponsored also by Jock Market. My name is Justin Fensterman. His name is Adam Ronis. What's going on, Ron?
Just another wild week in the NFL, man. Just making it very difficult from a betting perspective. I'm not down about my Cowboys. Like, I expected them to lose. I didn't think they would beat Philadelphia. So, like, I wasn't distraught after last night's game. I kind of expected it. You know, they got back in the game. But, you know, I've been saying all these people, it's funny, like, people who don't follow teams and just from afar, like every night, oh, where are all the people who said Cooper Rush better than Dak? I mean, come on, man. I've been saying it for weeks. He had 4 touchdowns and no interceptions in the first 4 wins. Didn't do anything. He managed the game, did a great job. But, like, come on, man. He was not leading them to victory, and he made costly mistakes last night, as they did with penalties as well. That 4th down, clearly Philly wasn't going for it, and they get fouled or jump offside. It's stupid things like that need to be eliminated in order for this team to move forward. And, you know, you got to give McCarthy credit because they are 4-2 with 5 of those games as a backup with a backup quarterback, but they still make a lot of dumb mistakes. So I wasn't really distraught. I hate losing to Philly, but I'm realistic. I've said it all year that I thought Philly was the best team coming in. I thought they were winning the division, and right now they're the best team in the NFC. Obviously, that can change, but hopefully Dak Prescott comes back this week and the offense gets a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, that is what we're hearing. But I'll say this, man, as someone who has Zeke, and it's been a struggle if you have Zeke on your fantasy teams, I'm happy, man. I'm happy as a Zeke guy. I'll take what we get from Zeke.
Just because he scored a touchdown last night. I still think there's going to be – now, I don't know if it's going to change with Dak in there. Maybe they have more scoring opportunities, but the problem with Zeke that he is really hurting those in fantasy, he's just not involved in the passing game at all. He's got 6 receptions in 6 games for 32 yards and just 2 rushing touchdowns. So, you know, he does have at least 70 yards rushing in 3 of the last 4 games. So that's a good sign. But he is very touchdown dependent. And right now only 2. So I think what you have to hope is that with Dak in there, that they move the ball a little bit more better, put them in scoring opportunities where he can finish off drives, because it's just not happening in the passing game. And let's see if that changes with Dak, because Zeke has always been effective in the passing game.
It better, man. I mean, when I drafted this guy, I was kind of relying on that a little bit. Tony Pollard, yeah, I know he's always been there, but at the same time, I was still expecting Zeke to catch some passes. And like you mentioned, just really hasn't happened. You know, I love drama in sports, man. I don't know, maybe I just haven't noticed it in years past, but in the last few years, do you feel like you see on camera players quitting on their teams? We saw it with Antonio Brown last year. Robbie Anderson, different kind of level than Antonio Brown. Robbie Anderson clearly getting pissed, clearly getting in coach's face, sent back to the locker room, pretty much was mouthing off on the way back to the locker room that pretty much F this team. And then what happens? Traded to the Arizona Cardinals. And that'll be very interesting to see how he kind of moves forward now. Robbie Anderson, though, Roan, big drama situation now out of Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew it was going to happen after seeing yesterday, but I don't think it's going to do much. Now, we do know Hollywood Brown, there was an initial report that he could be out for the season. Now they're saying it could be 6 weeks. That's still going to take you through, you know, most of the regular season in fantasy football. So You might, depending on where you're at, you might have to drop. I have a lot of Hollywood Brown too, so it's a crushing injury for me. I have him in the SiriusXM host league that we're in together. I have him in the Scott Fishbowl. I have him in the GST league. So at least 3, maybe another one. And I thought he was playing great. I really do. I know there weren't a ton of touchdowns there, but he was playing really good football. So, and I know we're going to get into it more in the next couple of days. This is a killer bye week, man. This is the week you want to play me in the host league. I am screwed, bro. No Diggs. Bateman's still hurt. Hollywood's out. My kicker's on bye. It's bad, bro, because it's Bills, Vikings, Eagles, and
Rams.
Cooper Kupp's another player I have on the Hollywood Brown team. Yeah, this is going to be a rough week for many, including myself, since I'm heavily invested in Stephon Diggs. But hey, he had another big game, so I'll take it. But we'll talk more about that in the next few days.
We will. And by the way, just want to say to our producer, the resource, AB Adam Bernard, I'm seeing in our show chat there, this is a better team, like Alonzo Mourning whining his way to the better team. There's a difference between that, AB. Let me just tell you right there. NBA history, you know that. You know I'm very into it. I love that Charlotte Hornet team in the mid-90s. What happened was they extended Larry Johnson, gave him a ton of money. Then all of a sudden, Mourning's like, well, what about me? And that's when they were really like, on paying him. And he demanded the trade. And then that's how he got to Miami and what broke the bank with a $100 million deal, which essentially was the motivation why Shaq wasn't remaining part of the Orlando Magic, because Shaq had agreed, Ron, I don't even know if you know this, he agreed originally to an 80-for-4 deal. And then he saw Mourning, this was before signing day, obviously, saw Mourning was getting $100 million and then asked for 150. And the Magic were like, what are you, crazy? Before you know it, boom, he's a Laker for about $124 million. So, yeah, I saw that with Alonzo Mourning, man. Ron, you remember that Hornets team from the mid-90s. Bogues, Del Curry, LJ, Grandmama, Alonzo Mourning. How awesome was that team to watch?
Yes, it was for sure. But, with Robbie Anderson, I mean, okay, you guys said he got to a better team. Are they that much better? I think the Cardinals suck. I know the Panthers are the worst. So, yes, better team. But the Cardinals are a very difficult team to watch. I just can't stand watching them, man. It's so painful watching that team.
Yeah, is he really going to be happy if he's getting targeted 2 to 3 times a game, maybe? With the receiving core that they have, is that really going to make him feel better about things?
Probably. I mean, you leave a situation, though. Again, I just think it's a bad situation with the Cardinals, too. I mean, yes, are they in a better spot as far as contention? They're a game out of first. There's 3 teams at 3-3, and then the Cardinals at 2-4. But come on, man. The Cardinals are garbage. They ain't going nowhere. They're not winning that division.
Let's talk about someone that was a big-time fill-in and a very popular name to add that actually came through and then got hurt. Deon Jackson. What do you think about him? All of a sudden, Matt Ryan having an amazing game. Turning back. You said it, Roan. You said it. We talked about this because I said, look, man, I look at what happened in week 2 when the Jags shut them out. And you said this is a completely different situation. And sure as hell it was for the Colts offense right there. Your boy Paris Campbell coming through.
Yeah, at least he came through on my best ball teams because I don't have him in season long. So
our old producer texted me earlier today. Our old producer, Jimmy Scalia, is like, dude, Ronus, Paris Campbell.
Yeah, and one of our other old producers, Sandro Anello, texted me over the weekend, you got to watch the Redeem Team. I'm like, I've already seen it. So he probably knew because, how much I love Kobe and how Kobe was portrayed in there. But yeah, look, Colts went with a different game plan. Matt Ryan threw the ball 58 times, and he didn't get sacked, and he didn't fumble either. Deon Jackson, I think this was a surprise. So I saw the news on Saturday, got an alert, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines out. I was like, whoa, because earlier in the week when I was putting in some bids where I need a running back, I'm like, I don't want to go too aggressive on Deon Jackson because I kind of have a feeling Taylor's going to be back. And then, so there were some leagues that were first come, first serve where I went in I think 2. I picked him up in our host league and I didn't play him, bro. I didn't play him. It looks like I still won, I think. But because I had Darrell Henderson, who I felt like I needed to get in, and I played Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt was like terrible this week. So I still won, but I left a lot of points on the table. And then in an RT Sports Championship, and this is very important too, for leagues that do the 2 waiver wire runs, a lot of people ignore the second one. So the RT Sports Championship, they have a waiver wire Wednesday night and another one Saturday night, just like the NFFC FFPC. They have 2 waiver runs. And I noticed a lot of people don't really get involved in the second one as much. So when I went to go look, I was like, oh, Deon Jackson is here. Now I needed a spot. So I said, I'm going to, I think I spent $88 on him. Because again, the second waiver wire run, I don't think you need to be as aggressive because I don't think everyone checks. And especially this year with waivers, there's not a lot of players. So I saw he was available. I'm like, oh, I got to get him. Got him and put him in the lineup. That worked out. And then I think there was another league where I picked him up where I don't think I played him either. I had him ranked right around 25 in the Fantasy Alarm rankings. So obviously he did better than that. Didn't do much on the ground. 12 for 42, did have the rush touchdowns, but through the air, 10 for 79 and 10 targets. So, yeah, I'm going to hold him to see what happens. I know he left the game late with injury. Do Taylor or Hines return this week? But I think we talked about it during the week. I thought Jackson looked good the week before. I liked what I saw of him against Denver. So, yeah, that worked out if you were able to pick him up or play him in DFS. He had a good game.
Check out this DFS lineup I put in. I never enter the Millie Maker or anything like that. But sometimes you just build a lineup, you're messing around, and it just seems almost perfect to you. And I actually won $40 from this lineup in the Millie Maker. So I'll take whatever I could get there.
You put it in the Millie Maker this time?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yep, I did. So I checked this out for strategy. Josh Allen was my quarterback. I obvious reasons we had to go there. And instead of Diggs, thinking that maybe a little bit less ownership, Gabe Davis that I ended up going with there. So that was okay. My running backs ended up being Deon Jackson and Darrell Henderson. And so I ended up going with them. But then, and I had Jamar Chase in this lineup too, which I was you and I talked all about that. Lattimore, as soon as he was ruled out, it was feast for this guy. Then I had Alec Pierce from the Colts. We support random Colts receivers. You support Campbell. I support Pierce. That worked out. Ertz, which was, I thought, maybe going to be a little bit better than it was. We'll talk about prop wars in a second. And then with the 0, MVS.
Dude,
what the hell was wrong with this guy?
Man, because I told you I debated playing his prop, and I've never been the biggest MVS guy, but watching the show, I'm like, oh, okay, he's getting the targets, and good thing I stayed away. Because, again, this is a game where Mahomes, 40 pass attempts, 25 completions, and a 0 after 90 yards the previous week, 63, 48, 5 to 8 targets a game and just 3 and no catches. So yeah, that was definitely surprising, but Chiefs offense, man, that's just kind of what we have to deal with. I mean, even Juju's touchdown was luck. I mean, I don't know how he didn't get tackled on that play. There were 2 defenders right there, and he spun away and found a daylight to the end zone. But yeah, I mean, Chiefs just kind of spreading it around once again. It looked like, what was there? 10 players got at least 1 target.
Yeah, not good right there. Definitely not good. That wasn't the only 0 I had in that host league you were just talking about because of bye week issues. I started Elijah Moore, another 0.
Man, I'm forced to start him on my home league because I had buys and everything, and I was like, if it wasn't him, it would have had to been like Kenneth Gainwell or Pacheco, and I'm like, I just gotta play this guy. Although I guess I could have flexed the tight end in Tunyon, and obviously he had a big game, but I didn't think of that. But yeah, I mean, and you saw Elijah Moore was kind of not complaining, but he said, I would say something, but you know what? We're winning. And that's what happens when you win. Guys don't really complain as much. You saw it with Allen Robinson. I know he was targeted more, but he had a great block on the touchdown for Skoranek, and you could see how excited he was. I mean, when you start to win a little bit, those things go away. But yeah, the Jets are a real problem now. We've talked about it. We talked about the team that it was a week you weren't. I think last week you weren't here, right? Or was it 2 weeks ago?
We talked about teams in the weekly hash out.
Right. Well, the one that we did with John, I named the Jets that week for our Waffle House thing. I was like, the Jets. And it's continuing. But the problem is now, Zach Wilson, they're just not letting him throw. Like with Flacco, he was throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game. They're running the ball so well. Breece Hall is tearing it up. Wilson had 18 pass attempts and 10 completions because they were pretty much in control of this game, even though it was 3-3 at the half. But they were running the ball successfully, and it's a problem for these receivers for the Jets because we know they're talented, but Garrett Wilson, 5 targets, 1 catch for 8 yards. Elijah Moore, not even a target. Corey Davis, their leading receiver, 2 for 52 and 4 targets. We talked about Conklin the last few weeks. It was not going to be the same without Flacco at quarterback and CJ Uzoma is back. He had 2 targets. So, yeah, this Jets passing game is a real problem. Now, the schedule does get tougher, so maybe they start to play from behind. They're at Denver, home to New England, home to the Bills, and at New England. So I think they're going to have to pass in those games, but, you got Belichick against an inexperienced quarterback. That's not good. The Bills are going to have to play from behind. And Denver, who knows? Because we'll see what they do tonight. Denver moves the football. They just stall in the red zone. That's their problem.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. World we live in. Geno Smith putting up good effort after good effort for the most part.
Oh, he didn't have a good fantasy day.
No, but still a good effort overall.
I thought he played well.
Yes.
I thought he made some good throws. He was under a lot of pressure because Arizona blitzes a lot. So he was under a lot of pressure in that game. And that's another game. Oh, yeah, this is the game to target 50.5 points, 28.
Yep.
No touchdowns for that potent Cardinals offense against the Seattle inept defense. Unbelievable.
Dude, I don't get any of this stuff. The Giants and the Jets are 9-3 combined right now.
Look, the Giants, I know we keep saying every week, they're the worst 3-1 team. They're the worst 4-1. They're the worst 5-1. I've been, I'm a Giants hater, but I've been giving them credit. I don't know how they're doing this. Again, Dable's a great coach. He's a great hire. They're believing. And there's just not a lot of good coaching in the NFL. And look, we talked about it on the show yesterday. They hang around. And Lamar Jackson made an awful decision. It's the pros and the cons of Lamar Jackson, right? He's able to pick up a fumble. And because he's so athletic and quick, he can scramble. But then you try to make a play that shouldn't be there. And, another quarterback would have just gotten sacked, but he's so good that he has the ability to extend it. But then you make a bad decision. And then the game is over. But, the Ravens are like a team that could easily be 6-0, and instead they're sitting there at 3-3 as another blown lead in the fourth quarter. But look, the Giants are just running the ball well with Barkley. They got Wan'Dale Robinson back, who I did play in 2 leagues.
Nice.
He only played like 11 snaps, but 4 targets, 3 for 37 and a touchdown. So I was happy about that. I expect his role to increase. Bellinger had a good game. They're just playing good football, fundamental football. They're well coached, nothing outstanding. But with the state of today's NFL, the bad football teams and the parity, that's why they're 5-1. If I don't think we'd see this team 5-1 in other seasons. I just think there's so many bad, mediocre teams right now where the Giants are taking advantage of it. I know the first few weeks we said they beat 3 offenses who were the worst in the league, but the Packers win, even though the Packers suck. That was a good win. They came from behind, even in London. And Baltimore's a good win at home. I don't care. You could tell maybe Baltimore's not as good as we think, but that's a team that has led most of the season this year in their games. They have barely been behind. We know Miami had the 28-point fourth quarter to come from behind. The Bills came down from 17 points. That is a good win at home. That's a game you don't expect them to win, and they got it. So they're just playing good team football right now, and that's enough in today's NFL with some of the terrible coaching and bad teams you see out there.
Red Rum makes an interesting point in our chat talking about the Giants.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's talking about the Giants. Yeah, they're going to run the table. Yeah, they're never going to have a slip-up.
I'll say this, bro. The schedule.
Do you really think that's going to happen in the NFL today? It's not going to happen.
I'm just thinking
they might lose the next 2 games.
That's true, but they could potentially win the next 4, right?
They've also played 4 games at home.
Right. So their next 4, they've got their next 2 on the road. And then the next
at Jacksonville and at Seattle. You just said Seattle could win the division, right?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say Seattle could win the division. That was our
They actually could
before the show. Yeah, I didn't say that. Okay.
Okay, but they're not. Wait, are they? I didn't even look at the lines yet for next week, so I'm assuming they're maybe a short favorite on the road or a point dog. I'm going to look now, but I guarantee they're going to lose one of the next 2 games. They absolutely will. At Jacksonville and at Seattle, they're not winning both.
Right.
Should they beat the dude? This is the NFL. This is not going to go how you script it.
No,
it's just not.
No.
The Giants are 3-point underdogs. Wow. Wow.
Look, man.
I guess I got to take the Giants this week. I got to dig deep into these.
Listen,
What?
people don't believe in them still. And
The Jets are 3-point road dogs in Denver, which probably is right. I mean, we got to see what happens tonight. Okay, the Giants should beat the Texans at home.
Yeah.
They should beat the Lions at home, but they could lose that game.
Yep.
And then
Then
they're at Dallas on Thanksgiving.
They lose both games against the Eagles. That's not happening. And then it's the problem is with a team like Minnesota, they're going to be in a more offensive battle. So it better be Saquon better be ready to go for 200 that game. And then what? The Colts? Okay, maybe they beat the Colts. They'll beat Washington, one of the two at least.
This is I understand why people do this,
Right.
but it's a waste of time. Did we all give Tampa Bay a win in Pittsburgh?
I did, yes.
Everyone did. They were minus 455. They were one of the most popular in the parlays. They lost. No one saw that coming, right?
Nope.
If we're going through the schedule for Tampa, they win in Pittsburgh easy. Top 3 corners down. It doesn't work like that. This is, I know it's said a lot recent years, but it's more true this year than ever. Any team can beat another team in the NFL this year, and it's not a joke. It's absolutely true. Like the Bills can lose to anyone. They really can.
Yeah, they can. I mean, with the Eagles, I don't think I'm trying to think if you put two teams.
That's again, now people are starting to talk about the Eagles. Oh, they're going to run the table. They're not going to run a table, man.
Well, I'm just talking about the team that's currently the contender right now. That's what I'm saying. If you're saying any team can beat any team at any time, then I'm thinking.
Okay, so you don't. Okay, let's take a look at the Eagles' schedule. They have a bye. The next game against Pittsburgh. Can they lose that game?
I don't think that. You know what? After what happened last week, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
After what happened last week, yes. I don't.
Then they're at the Texans.
Think they will. I don't think they.
They're
will.
at the Texans week 9. That'll probably be the game they lose. Then they're home to Washington, at Indy, home to Green Bay. Right? Is that game? Yeah, home to Green Bay, home to Tennessee, at the Giants, at the Bears, at Dallas, home to the Saints. Home to the Giants. They are not going undefeated. The schedule looks great. Don't get me wrong. They will not go undefeated.
Oh, no, I don't think so either. It's going to happen at some point. It's fun, man. I mean, look, like you got an undefeated team, number one, a team that looks legit, and then you got the Giants at 5-1. It's just fun to look at it. And when you look at their next 4
No, it is. And then the Cowboys will get Dak back. I mean,
Right.
The Cowboys are a pretty good team too. I
Right.
mean,
the next when the Giants play the Cowboys next, the Giants are not winning that game.
that's going to be that's Thanksgiving. And if I remember correctly, that's the best game on Thanksgiving. I think the Lions play the Bills, right? Yeah.
They got to stop having the Lions on Thanksgiving already.
It's tradition. I agree, but they're not going to change
it.
Okay? But actually, no. To be fair, though, the Lions are fun this year. I don't mind that game. And Patriots, Vikings at night. That's actually not that bad now with New England playing pretty good and Belichick doing a good job in Minnesota.
They're so boring to watch, man.
Who?
The Patriots.
I
I
like watching Stevenson though. But okay, how many teams are exciting to watch in the NFL? There's not as many as you think, bro.
No.
It is bad. Like even the Packers are boring to watch right now.
But bro,
again, they did the same thing yesterday.
On Thanksgiving, the Patriots have been boring to watch for the last few years.
Yeah, but they don't. It's the opposite. They don't need to put on great games because they know people are going to watch. Just like Thursday Night Football, right? We see a lot of garbage matchups. They know people are going to watch because of betting and fantasy. They don't need to put the most appealing game on. If you notice, the better matchups are usually Sunday night.
Right. And they haven't been coming through, but
I mean, there's just not a lot of exciting teams to watch in the NFL right now. So that's, right. I get why people are complaining about the primetime matchups and the Broncos 4 times in 6 weeks. It's excessive. It's too much. The Bears back-to-back weeks is moronic. But how many teams do you sit down and go, yeah, I can't wait to watch them play? I'll give you, I think it's like 7 maybe, and that might be a lot. The Bills, I'll say Miami with Tua, right?
Yep.
Okay. Are we going to say that with the Jets? I don't think we're there yet, right?
I'm kind of with you. I don't know how the Jets are doing this. I really don't.
I keep repeating it. There's not a lot of good teams in the NFL right now.
Right.
It's parity. Like this is the worst I've ever seen it.
By the way,
so we can't even start fantasy
would be on that list for me.
I'll put Baltimore on the list.
But I'm going to say this, Ron.
I'll put the Bengals on the list.
I'm going to say this. Lamar Jackson over his last few weeks, it has been different than it was the first few weeks for the guy. Guy's not throwing touchdowns.
And the fourth quarter too. I mean, part of it is no Bateman And they really, it's all Mark Andrews. And I don't know how I didn't play his prop. I'm so disgusted. That should be a money bet every week. We'll talk about that more. But okay, Ravens, Bengals, that's 4. I'm going to say no to the Browns right now. No to the Steelers. No to the Titans. No to the Colts. No to the Jags. No to the Texans. Chiefs, yes, that's 5. Chargers, I'm going to say yes, 6.
Can I stop you?
No.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
The Jaguars intrigue me.
They're not exciting to watch, though.
No.
You think that's an exciting team to watch right now?
I guess because here's what. Week 1,
There's a difference between intriguing and exciting. The Jets are intriguing, not exciting yet.
You're right. I watched them.
Chargers 6.
I watched them week 1, and they were against the Commanders. And any team can look exciting against the Commanders.
Well, because points put up in that game,
right?
So that's why I think most people see. I can appreciate a good defensive battle, but like the 2 Thursday games we've seen the last 2 weeks have been inept offense, not great defense. So there's a difference. I can appreciate good defensive football, but most people will deem NFL exciting with a lot of offense, which is not always the case. Okay, so I'm giving you 6 teams in the AFC. The Eagles, I'll say yes, right?
Yep.
7. Giants, no. They're not exciting to watch.
No, they're not exciting to watch, but now the angle is playing into it, and it's making them organically more exciting.
Again, intriguing. Not exciting. Because we want to see how do they keep doing this.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
The Cowboys, I will say yes. You're going to say I'm biased, but I'll say the Cowboys now, no. With Dak, yes. Agree or no?
I agree with that.
Okay, so that's 8. Washington, no. I got to say Minnesota, no right now.
Nope.
Green Bay, no.
No.
Chicago, no. I'm going to say Detroit, yes.
Yeah, I would.
They put up points. They move the football.
They do.
So that's 9. Tampa, no. Atlanta, no. Saints, no. Panthers, no. 49ers, no, right?
No, they're not exciting. They're just a good team.
Rams, no.
No.
Rams, no. I'm going to say yes on Seattle. I can't believe it, right?
You know what, dude?
Seattle, yes, right?
They move the ball. They've got,
Yeah, Geno's playing well.
Yeah, they're doing.
And Arizona, no. That's 9 out of 30 that are exciting. So how are you supposed to have primetime games that are great every week when you have 9 teams that we're saying are exciting right now?
Yeah, none of the primetime games seem good, actually. But they don't know that before the season.
Someone is saying Minnesota is exciting. They have good players, but they have not. Okay, let's look at Minnesota's games. Green Bay, 23-7, they won. Against Philadelphia, they were non-competitive. They lost 24-7. They came back against the Lions, won by 4. The Saints, I thought they should have lost that game in London. They won by 3.
Yep.
They had a struggle to beat the Bears by 7, and they beat a Miami team that had to make a quarterback change in game, and Bridgewater turned it over. I won't fight it. I mean, I like Dalvin Cook, Jefferson. You want to put them in there, fine. I wouldn't use the word exciting to describe them right now, though.
Arizona,
I think they've been struggling a bit on offense.
I'm trying to decide about Arizona.
No, Arizona, I will not give you. They are not exciting. They are painful to watch. Okay, that offense is horrendous.
Yes,
they didn't score a touchdown against Seattle's defense. I will not give you anything with Arizona. They are painful to watch. You go back and watch their games the last couple weeks, and you come here tomorrow and tell me they're exciting. And you're going to be like, damn, I was wrong. You're right. They are not exciting. I'm not giving you that.
Wait, you got to give me one thing.
What?
Hopkins coming back.
No, I've said this, and I last year I was down on it. I am not convinced that he is going to be great. I think he lost a little something. We'll find out. I mean, he got suspended for PEDs, so how much was that helping him? The rust. I guess it could help them maybe in the red zone. Hollywood Brown's not a big red zone guy. Ertz is okay, but I don't think you don't want that guy to be your main red zone target.
10 yards in turn, Roan. 10 yards
in
turn.
And then fall down.
It.
Yeah.
That's it.
So maybe I think that team's just a mess. I cannot believe they extended Kingsbury and paid Murray, all that. That team is a mess, man.
You
really
were going through teams quickly, but 2 of the teams, Titans and the Raiders. The Raiders, at least.
Titans are not exciting to watch. It's Derrick Henry, and that's it.
The Raiders.
Raiders, I can give you because I know the record's not great, but they've played a lot of close games. Devontae Adams is fun to watch. Waller,
Jacobs
I don't know.
has made me a fan.
He's played well. I can give you the Raiders way more than Arizona. Definitely. Yeah. Arizona, I'm not giving you. I'm not budging on that.
No, it's weird because with a team that you're just expecting to put up a lot of points. Naturally, they'd be exciting. But here's the thing with the Cardinals. It's been so hard to figure out what the heck they're doing. I mean, we were getting complaints about James Conner a little bit a few weeks ago. And then, you've got Kyler running. This is what I was wondering, how much he was going to run with no Williams, no Conner versus Eno Benjamin. And I was wondering how many carries versus how many targets that Eno Benjamin was going to get in this game. Arizona has certainly been very hard to track.
Okay, don't look. I'm going to ask you quick off your head. How many teams in the NFC have a positive point differential?
2.
7. That's not a lot.
It's been
and look at these differentials too. All right, Phillies plus 56, San Fran's plus 33, Giants plus 14, Dallas plus 12, Minnesota plus 21, Tampa plus 18, Atlanta somehow plus 10. 3 teams in the West are negative. Rams are negative 22, Seattle's minus 17, Arizona's minus 28. I mean, even in the AFC, the Bills are plus 95, the Chiefs are plus 30, plus 15 for the Jets. Miami's minus 24, New England's plus 28. These are low, plus 24 for Jacksonville. Tennessee's minus 22, Colts minus 18, Texans minus 13. I mean, the Raiders for a 1-4 team are minus 5. They've just lost, they've had some bad losses. The Cardinals game they blew that game in week 2. That was a horrendous loss. They lost to Tennessee by 2, and then they lost the Chiefs game by 1, where they had the lead and went for 2. And so, so the Raiders, you can make a case for. Maybe they could turn this around. I mean, they're home to the Texans this week, at the Saints, at Jacksonville, home to the Colts, but they have very little margin for error at this point. So, but yeah, it's just, there's so much parity in this league right now. And I think I think a lot of teams that we expected to be exciting are just not. Like, we probably, if before the year, you would have said yes to the Broncos, right?
Yes.
Wilson, Sutton, Judy. I mean, they're one of the worst teams to watch right now because they just can't score in the red zone.
Right. And their quarterback.
Again, New Jersey Thor, listen to the words I say. I said the Cowboys with Dak Prescott are more exciting. I just said the Cowboys are not exciting to watch right now because they hide Cooper Rush. With Dak Prescott, they'll be more aggressive. And are you a Vikings fan? I'm assuming you are. But I'm just saying, like, the Vikings have Jefferson, who's good, but the Vikings are not. Oh, how is Dak exciting? Come on, man. Have you seen what this offense has done with Dak the last couple of years? They were like the number 1 offense in the NFL last year. You can hate Dak all you want, but he puts up points. So I know you don't watch football. You don't watch Dak if you're saying that.
Hey, by the way, Marty wants to know, this is a very good question, that do your neighbors ever hear you ranting on these shows?
No, so I have a neighbor that hears me when I don't talk and I'm quiet and complains. Justin knows. There's been letters and there's been a lot that's going on. So yeah, I mean, and if they say something, voicemails, no joke. But right now it's 5:33 p.m. Eastern. So I got a call one time at 2:30 that I was making noise and I wasn't. And I called the building manager. She's like, it's 2:30. You can make noise. I said, but I'm not. She's like, it's 2:30. You're allowed to make noise. So if I am, it's 5:30. So I'm okay. But I usually don't scream like this all the time.
No, but when it was 1:30,
Justin gets me angry by telling me Arizona's exciting.
No, I'm just bringing teams to the table that could still be exciting. Arizona has hope.
Okay, NJ Thor, I never said Zeke is exciting. Okay. You're making stuff up.
Can I take this? NJ Thor. Yeah. I said that I was excited that Zeke actually gave me a 15-point fantasy performance in a PPR. And then Ronis asked me, how could you be excited about he doesn't get any catches or anything? He doesn't get any receptions. And I said, look, man, this kind of year, I'll take what I could get from Zeke, okay? He's not going to catch passes. At least let the guy get in the end zone.
Yeah, by the way, last year with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys led the NFL in points per game at 30.4. Okay, they moved the football, they put up points, so they were an exciting offense. They're not now because they are not aggressive with Cooper Rush. They are hiding him. And last night was the first time that they needed Cooper Rush to do something playing from behind. And what happened? 3 interceptions. They're not built to play that way. They've played mediocre opponents, and this defense is a lot better. Like I didn't think they were as good as they were last year, where they forced a lot of turnovers. I mean, that defensive line comes at you, man. And Michael Parsons is probably the best defensive player in football. I think a lot of people will agree with that. I mean, he's a big difference maker. So that's where I think the Cowboys could turn things around. I still worry about McCarthy. There were stupid penalties last night. Even Parsons with his personal. I hate the whole. They had to throw the flag, right? Did you watch the game?
Yes.
Remember when Parsons got flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct for flexing? Who was the receiver? It wasn't AJ Brown. Devontae Smith. Who was he covering on it? Was it Goddard? Goddard. And he broke up a pass, and then he was like in his face flexing, and Goddard pointed a ref, and they threw the flag. I know that's the letter of the law. I think it's dumb. I've had this argument with Howard Bender on a podcast. I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate. You know what I'm saying?
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up reference. By the way, the person.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
Well, no, I'm going to tell you. So Dikembe Mutombo, who, by the way, just had some procedure for a tumor, unfortunately. So thoughts and prayers to him and his family. But Dikembe Mutombo used to get teed up in the 2000s. In the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over or whatever.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, want to know why they're paranoid. They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not gonna start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing. Okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right? Yeah,
that can incite you. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play. What? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules, so no excuse. He shouldn't have done it. Right. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. And it's, what's disrespectful? It's
right. It's interpretation. And that's my problem with it.
Right.
And it's going to it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game. And that's when people are going to go crazy. It's going to decide. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a great pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins a playoff game because of it. That's when you need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint. And I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Do you think that, though, that something like that happening could cause the NFL to go and take a look at the rules and maybe lighten it or loosen it up a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, look, they've already made changes to concussion rules in season. Like, you have a concussion now, you're not playing next week.
No.
I mean, it's pretty clear.
No.
And if you're a Miami quarterback, you're out for multiple weeks.
Honestly, man, ever since when they back in the day, like, first started penalizing excessive celebrations for touchdowns and everything, that took the fun away. I lost a lot of hope after that. Let them celebrate, all right? I like
exactly.
that.
They're professional.
Joe Horn phone. Come on, man.
As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent,
Right.
Why not? It's supposed to be fun. Let them if they do something good, let them be excited.
Yeah, like T.O. on the star. That's disrespectful back in the day. Didn't someone knock him down after that?
Yeah, I think it was Teague. I think it was George Teague, the safety, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. Knocked him right down right there.
Or like Alan Lazard who knocked the cheesehead off of Sauce Gardner yesterday.
Sauce deserved that, though. Honestly, he was inciting the crowd.
Yeah, good for him. You know what? Big one for the Jets. Let them celebrate, man. Come on.
Right, but then you've got losers like us that are like,
the game's over though, too. The game was over. He won the game.
Right.
Let them have fun.
Right. Like,
if the Packers should have done something about it in game.
Yeah. No, they did not. Instead, they do nothing. That's pretty much them. Although Lazard definitely picking up steam in the last few weeks, especially on the production end. He's Adam Rodas. I'm Justin Fensterman, just talking about all of the drama that happened from week 6. We got more drama coming up here where we have the Chargers taking on the Broncos. Going to preview that. I also wrote some props that are also intriguing. That's going to be the big theme of today's show. Exciting versus intriguing. There's a big difference when talking about these NFL teams. It's the Playbook with Fensty and Rodas, powered by FantasyAlarm.com. and sponsored by Jock Market.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market. Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
We've talked about this. You're not into that, to the dynasty thing.
I don't, dynasty is like a long-term relationship, and that just is really tough for me, Rick,
I understand.
It is such, and then when you say the two things that you say that probably scare me the most is a 14-team dynasty. Then I'm like, oh, this is a now complex relationship that requires a lot of my attention.
And a dog that you don't like and all of that stuff, right?
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
I wish they'd get rid of instant replay. I think it's damaging to the sport. I just don't like it.
They will never get rid of instant replay on the broadcast. We demand it, and that's why. Remember, replay kind of rose out of the fact that people would sit at home and say, "Why can't they look at this? Why can't they see? I get to see the replay, and I know it's wrong. Why don't they get it?" So that said, okay, we'll have replay. Ray, we're never going to get rid of replay.
No.
Like you couldn't say, "Hey, the NFL will get rid of it, but we're not going to show it on broadcast." What if the NFL said, we'll get rid of replay, but we will not show any instant replays at the stadium? Would you be okay with, you'd still get them at home, and you could still yell at the TV, but the ref can't hear you there.
Right.
I feel part of it is they have to have replay because the millions upon millions of people watching the game have replay. So, you can't not have replay when everybody else has it, but the guys making the decisions don't have it. You gotta have replay. It's impossible.
It is impossible. It's just my dream. It doesn't help.
You get better dreams, Ray. That's not really
it doesn't help. That's the thing. If we use replay and it creates as many questions as answers that it solves, what's the point of it?
Well, it's not going to change, Ray Flowers. You're going to be an old man still yelling at the replay cloud.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Robinson, the running back, Trevor under center. Now motion. It's a quarterback sneak. Trevor Lawrence into the end zone, I believe. No signal yet. Touchdown. Took a while to get the signal, but that's a 1-yard touchdown run by Trevor Lawrence. Atlanta strong to the right side. Here comes Zacchaeus in motion. Snap to Mariota. Marcus will keep it right side. Turn the corner. Touchdown, Atlanta. Marcus Mariota.
Line winning on a shotgun snap. He takes it. Backs the throw looking left. Fires that way into the end zone. High pointing the ball is Jelani Woods. He's got it. Touchdown. INDY.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Jock Market.
Justin Fenster and Adam Ronis back with you here, and what you heard was highlights of actually some of the 20-plus point scorers in fantasy football. Roan, check out this list here because you got your usuals, like you got Josh Allen on this list. You got Jalen Hurts, who just made the list. You got others like Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins. And then you've got this group. You've got Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, Trevor Lawrence. I'll say Mahomes made it as well. He's part of the usual suspects. Bailey Zappi, Teddy Bridgewater, who ended up coming in. I didn't understand why they just didn't start him the whole time, but that's another thing.
I don't think he practiced most of the week, and I think they probably didn't want him to go in, with the spotlight on them, and they just had no choice when Thompson hurt his thumb.
Yeah, thumb looked huge, by the way. It was gross. Jimmy Garoppolo as well in the 20-point range, too. Just very interesting seeing what we saw. Ugh, dude, you want to talk about things I got wrong? There were so many times where I said start the other person instead of Brandon Ayuk. I had no reason at that time. I thought I'd have more confidence in Brandon Ayuk. And then when Jimmy Garoppolo took over, he didn't do too much. And then Brandon Ayuk had a huge day. 2 quick touchdowns, it seemed like. And I was just shaking my darn head.
Well, because it was game script. They were down 14-0 in the first quarter, and you don't expect 49ers to put up 41 pass attempts. And they only ran the ball 16 times. Wilson only had 7 carries. So it's rare that you see Ayuk with 11 targets, Kittle with 10, and Debo with 10. They are not designed to play that way, but they could not stop Atlanta because they had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the football. Here's the thing about Mariota. If people are kicking themselves, do you know how many pass attempts Mariota had yesterday?
I don't know the number off the top of my head.
What would be your guess?
I'm going to go with 28.
14.
Wow.
He was 13 of 14 for 129 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for 50 yards and a rushing touchdown. Like, you can't play a guy like that. I mean, it's just they're not throwing the ball at all. And that's why I had him in the league after the first 2 weeks where I had Dak, and I played him, and then I'm like, I can't do this anymore because his pass attempts since week 2, 26, 20, 19, 25, and 14. Like, you can't play a guy like that. He had a 92.9% completion percentage yesterday. It's not going to continue. And he ran more. Like, the first couple weeks he ran. Well, he did have 61 against Tampa last week and then 50 yards rushing. But, yeah, I mean, you can't go and pick up Mariota and be like, oh, yeah, look, this offense, you can't. Because what's going to happen is if he has those same pass attempts next week, he's going to absolutely crush you and maybe get no touchdowns. So Atlanta's been one of the biggest surprises, too. They're the only team undefeated against the spread so far, and a lot of people peg them as one of the worst teams in the NFL, and they are sitting there at 3-3, tied for first place, and they are at Cincinnati this week and then home against the Panthers, which is certainly a winnable game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Some of the top producers for running backs of 15-plus in a PPR. Talked about Deon Jackson before, Ramondre Stevenson, Christian McCaffrey, who's, I guess, in auditioning mode now as the Panthers maybe look to see what's out there for a possible trade. Leonard Fournette, Breece Hall, Kenyan Drake. Let's talk about this situation, man. The whole turf at MetLife and everything. That Harbaugh, I was talking to our buddy that we hung out with in Canton, Ohio, the Expo, Phil Backert, works at SiriusXM. And I was talking to him, and I pretty much said, dude, all these Giants fans keep coming at me. You got to take care of the Giants. And he's like, no problem, man, because he's a big Ravens fan. But then what he was saying to me was also Harbaugh didn't like the turf at MetLife. And so looking at that, what ended up happening with J.K. Dobbins, apparently, as reported, his knee, quote, tightened up. But really, I think Harbaugh was just too scared of that turf, doesn't like the turf. And before you know it, Kenyan Drake has a nice fantasy outing in 0 lineups.
Yeah, actually, oh no, Corey Parsons said he had to start him out of desperation. We were talking about that
yesterday. Never mind, one person.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, he had some long runs too in this game. I was like, what is going on? He had 10 for 119 and a touchdown. So, I mean, Dobbins hasn't looked great though since he came back. You know,
they said they would bring him on slowly as well, and they're going to.
Which is why they want to draft him, man.
Right.
I mean, he's averaging 3.5 yards per carry, and I know he got very testy with the media in the preseason too. But I mean, he really hasn't.
He's saying he's healthy, and he doesn't look fully healthy.
Nah, he doesn't. I mean, and it was like several ligaments. It was the ACL, MCL. I think it was all 3 ligaments in the knee that he tore too. That is not easy to come back from, even at a young age of 23. So that's why I stayed away. I was just worried. And then, you got the backfield where you usually split. You got Lamar Jackson who runs, and their running backs don't catch a lot of football. So when you put everything together, I just didn't. And Dobbins at one point was going in the 4th, 5th round. And I was like, what? And then he started to drop a little bit. Yeah.
You know why? People saw a report, and this is before he said anything, weeks before. People saw a report, and this is something that you talked about on our old show, and that was be careful when people say he could potentially return from the PUP list. I think people get very excited, and that's a draft trap right there.
Yeah, even Gus Edwards, right? Oh, yeah, he'll be on PUP for 4 weeks. He'll be back. Week 6, he's still not back. And they're saying maybe, like, you always have to be extra cautious with injuries. I think people always take the optimistic end. Oh, this guy's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. All right, I'll get him back in 4. Sometimes it's 7 or 8.
Yeah, I always said the latter. I'm always thinking that they're going to be out longer, and if they're back, then that's an added bonus.
But people,
don't do that. Don't do that out there. Don't think that he'll beat. Everything say he may beat the timetable, don't believe any of that garbage. All right, no one knows how the body's going to respond. One inkling of soreness that could set the player back a week or two. Probably what's going to happen with Dobbins right now after this whole thing with the turf. And they're probably going to be even more conservative with how they use him.
Yeah. And it's not like he's going to get huge workload. So he's got to score a touchdown for him to have success in your fantasy lineup. If not, now they do play the Browns this week, and the Browns are just horrendous defensively. So, but it's still, I know we have bye weeks and injuries, but it's really hard to start him with confidence. So I have to put him lower in the rankings. But again, he's always going to have a good shot to score a touchdown. And if you have a running back right now that's in position to score a touchdown, it's a good week, as you alluded to before with Zeke, and even a guy like Najee Harris, who did not have a big week, but he found the end zone, and you're like, okay, I will take it.
Yep, exactly. Definitely will take it. There were so many questions, Roan. I'm sure you fielded some as well. Bench Najee versus these two guys, and I was getting questions about Deon Jackson versus Najee, and it's really
turned out Deon was the better call.
Right.
I think I had. I think I might. Did I have Najee below? They were both similar. I know I had Deon around 25. I might have had Najee maybe a spot below, but I have him in one league. I started him because I had bye week issues. But I got to look. But if Eno Benjamin is starting again this week, I have a league where I'll have Najee, Eno Benjamin, Damian Pierce, and Breece Hall. I can tell you right now, Breece Hall and Pierce are in. Comes down to Najee or Benjamin. And I know Benjamin didn't have a great week this past week, but and Pittsburgh plays Miami. Miami hasn't been great. But Najee had 14 for 42 and 2 catches, 7 yards, and a receiving touchdown. You take away the touchdown, it was another mediocre week.
Yep. Hardly mediocre. That's just.
I guess the good news is he had 16 touches, and there was talk, Jaylen Warren's going to get more involved. Well, Jaylen Warren had 2 carries. So thank you, Mike Tomlin, for that.
Marty's asking us about the quarterback situation in New England with Bailey Zappi and what he's done with Mac Jones out. I mean, when Mac Jones is healthy, to me at least, he's the guy under center. He's your future piece.
I think they will go back to him, but Zappi has been pretty impressive so far.
Oh, yeah.
It allows them to take it easy with Mac Jones, though.
No, it does for sure. Doesn't make them exciting, makes them very intriguing. And yes, the Jets, like you said as well, also very intriguing.
The Jets would be exciting if they opened it up. I mean, they have excellent wide receivers. I mean, I like watching Breece Hall, but as overall, though, I can't say it yet. Just again, if they're limiting Zach Wilson in a major way, but Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson are 2 really good wide receivers. And then with Breece Hall and then some of the players they have on defense too. I mean, Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner. I mean, look, things are looking up. They do have a very tough stretch coming up, though.
Yeah.
But look, if you're a Jets fan, you should be excited right now.
Yeah, I am. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's at what point do they lose 6 or 7 in a row? And
it doesn't matter, though.
I know, man. It's just like I don't want it to
It's really, you didn't expect to be good this year.
No.
What you need is you got to find out if you have the right coach and the right quarterback. That's what you need to find out.
Right. Robert Saleh hasn't been great, but this year it's been
no, he's been good this year.
Yeah,
I mean, again, no one thought the Jets would be 4-2, and then go in and I understand Green Bay is not good. I've been saying it for a few years,
but before the season started, we thought they were good.
I didn't. Again, I never liked that team, and they dominate the regular season, and now you take and again, I don't know what they're doing. Aaron Rodgers again, like dropping back, throwing deep passes, they're not working. Why do you keep doing this? It's not working. And then even on, and then he was throwing behind receivers. He's off, man. He's way off. And again, I don't know why they're not getting the hands. Look, if you want to tell me, all right, we're struggling to run the football because I know the overall numbers look bad yesterday, but they weren't running the football early in the game. Okay, fine. You're, on a day like yesterday, right? Dillon and Jones didn't have success on the ground. Why isn't Aaron Jones getting the ball in the passing game more? We see how good he is as a receiver. Why is he only 3 for 25? When you lost Randall Cobb to injury, Watson was out. So, yeah, you were short-handed at a receiver. Why isn't Aaron Jones getting more targets in the passing game? Robert Tonyan averaging 9 yards per reception. That's going to move the offense?
Yeah.
Come on.
Jones has scored 2 touchdowns in the same week, and that's been
week 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
week 2.
And that's the other thing with Aaron Jones. Like, he has been very, very touchdown dependent the last couple of years because they don't want to overwork him. So I understand why they use Dillon, but he's not scoring touchdowns now, and he's not involved enough in the passing game. For the people who were pro Aaron Jones, and I have no Aaron Jones in fantasy this year, so this is not me needing Aaron Jones, even though I like him, but I didn't draft him anywhere this year. One of the arguments was, well, look at the splits with Devontae Adams out. Look at Aaron Jones in the passing game. So Aaron Jones and Dillon are going to get more involved. It's not happening. He's got 17 receptions in 6 games. That's not more involved. That's not more involved at all. Because
how many does Derrick Henry have right now? Derrick Henry's catching up to him. at this point.
Because Jones had 52 receptions last year on 65 targets. I mean, look at that efficiency. And he had 6 receiving touchdowns and 4 rushing last year. So he had 10 total touchdowns. He's not on that pace right now. And he's always been good yards per carry. They just, because I guess their argument might be, because we don't overwork him, right? Because in his career, he's only had 200 plus carries twice. And one was 201, one was 236. So they're never going to give this guy 250 carries. It's clear. They want him to hold up. But 5.8 yards per carry this year, 4.7 last year, 5.5 2 years ago. His career is 5.1. And their argument must be like, because we limit him. But you're losing football games now, okay? You lost to the Jets at home. Whatever we think of the Jets, that's a game you can't lose after you lost to the Giants the previous week. And maybe those teams are better than we think. But if you're Green Bay and you want to win that division, you can't lose those games. So forget about limiting Aaron Jones. That's a game you need to win yesterday. So why is he not on the field catching passes? When you're catching a pass as a running back out of the backfield, that's less running between the tackles where you shouldn't get hit as much.
Your bigger complementary back is rushing for fewer than 4 yards per carry in A.J. Dillon. He's not doing anything. I swear, right now, I got this wrong. I thought he had a little bit more explosiveness to him than I've seen. I've seen him do virtually nothing. And he's had some very poor efforts, let me tell you. The Bears game, in which, after what he did in week number 1, this is what made me think, these two running backs are going to feast, because in week 1, it was A.J. Dillon. Week 2, Aaron Jones. I'm like, this is going to be great. And it's been everything but great.
Yeah, this offense, there's so many offenses that look like a mess right now. And I think the mistake, maybe not everyone, but I think what we keep doing is, it's going to get better this week. Look at the match. We've been doing it with Tampa. Like, where do we get to the point where it's like, you know what? This offense just isn't that good. Again, they've scored more than 21 points one time. And it was against Kansas City when they had 31 when they were coming from behind. They had 18 points against the Steelers this week. Like, really?
And we didn't hit our Mike Evans prop.
I know, and I should have known it was due. No, you know what, though? That was an easy play. I don't know. Like, how does Mike Evans not go over that against Pittsburgh with the top 3 corners and make a Fitzpatrick out?
I don't know.
Godwin did. How does Evans have 4 targets on a day when you lost? They put up 1 touchdown. 1.
Yeah, trust me, man.
The Steelers.
They were my 2-pointer in my season-long betting contest. I thought that they were the lock. No, nothing's a lock anymore. No locks. There's no locks anymore. Okay?
No.
Because when you think someone's a lock, they get hurt. Like Montgomery versus the Texans. That was the closest thing to a lock.
But then didn't you do Robinson against the Texans? Maybe you stopped picking on the Texans.
I did do that. But then I've learned my lesson now that I've had their bye week to think about it. But I'll say this, man, the closest thing that I thought, let's go over what happened in Prop Wars, because the deficit is now down to 1. You with the Nick Chubb streak is over, man.
Yeah, it was 18.5. His longest run was 18. I want a remeasurement.
Bro, how do you think I felt? I had the Kyler Murray over 37.5 pass attempts, and he ends up with 37. I thought that was going to be good. So I missed that. You missed Nick Chubb. We both hit our Breece Hall props, but we had different Breece Hall props. He crushed the over on the attempts. He also hit the over 59.5 yards on the ground, which you got right. We still, when we bet the same prop, we still haven't gotten it right. I think we're 0-3 now. We both miss on the Mike Evans. You barely hit the Devin Singletary over 20.5 receiving yards.
And I should have, and I mentioned it when I was going over it. I said I was also looking at his total yards, and I probably should have taken that one. He looked good. And as I said, this is the thing with Singletary. Now, they're on bye next week. If the game's competitive, he is getting the football. They're not splitting it. He had 21 touches in this game. He had 85 yards rushing and 22 receiving. So that's 107. And I think the prop was it in the 60s or 70s? So that's the key. When the Bills are in a competitive game, Devin Singletary is getting the football. Zach Moss was healthy and active. When do we get a Bills competitive game? I don't know. Looking at their schedule. Home to Green Bay on NBC. At the Jets. Home to the Vikings. Home to the Browns. At Detroit. At New England. I don't know if I could play Singletary props anymore. I'm sure one of those games will be competitive, but do we have faith right now that the Packers can go into Buffalo on a Sunday night with the Bills coming off a bye and hang with the Bills right now? What have we seen?
No.
So I'm not doing it.
They look
at
pretty
the
trashy.
Jets. At the Jets, I mean, didn't Buffalo struggle last year in New York? If I'm not mistaken, I thought they did.
I forgot.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So yeah, I might have to back off Singletary props for a bit. I guess it'll just be Diggs.
So yeah, I hit the Breece Hall over 12.5 rush attempts. He had 20. Kyler Murray just missed the over on the 37.5 pass attempts. Josh Allen, I hit that one over 297.5 passing yards. I hit the Zach Ertz over 4.5, but that wasn't as clean as I thought it would be. It started
several receptions late.
Yeah, dude. I just, and Murray's throwing behind him a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like nuts. I was starting to get a little bit nervous about that one. So I end up going 3-2. You go 2-3. It is now 16-15 in favor of you as we head towards week 7, 5-on-5. On Fridays, we go through our prop wars props. Sometimes we have the same ones, and when we do, you might as well not bet it because we're 0-3 and we haven't hit the same prop when we bet it.
Well, it'll help. So if whenever you go first and you give out the prop and I have it on my sheet, I'm immediately not taking it.
There we go then. See? We're motivating everybody there. What to take and what not to take. He's Ronas. I'm Fensty. Let's talk about the good and the bad. Some of the performers that just didn't do well. Let's rag on some players before we talk Monday Night Football. We'll preview. We'll talk some props as well. And then, Ron, we got to talk a little bit of baseball, I think, as well. Big game tonight for the New York Yankees. You cheering on the Yanks?
Hell no. Come on, man. You know I'm rooting for Cleveland. Hopefully they play. I don't know. Like, I know there's bad weather in the forecast, but I'm seeing some people like, what are they going to do if they can't play? I mean, the forecast I see right now, they should play. There's a window here. I'm seeing New York, 40% chance of rain from 7 to 9, and then it's clear. So unless someone else has a different forecast, it's actually more rain by me than New York. So I'm assuming they'll play, but could be a delay.
We shall see. We were having the bad weather down here before too. It's always raining these days, especially when it comes to the 2022 fantasy football season. It's been a lot of rain. Who knows how to track some of these teams, but that's why we're in this together. Keep the comments coming. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about regarding what happened in week 6, Monday Night Football. We'll preview that, but let's go over the bad from the week and a little bit more of the good too, but mainly the bad. And let's rant and talk about some frustrating fantasy players for our team. I had multiple zeros in lineups, multiple weeks, and I'm sure you have as well. And it sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas, powered by FantasyAlarm.com here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas is sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas is sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game.
For those that love the stock market, it's a very interesting way on how to include essentially fantasy sports and statistics when it comes to investing into players. We say it all the time that we have shares of players. Well, you legitimately buy shares when you download the Jock Market app. And when you buy shares of a player, like for instance, I'm seeing in the most recent one, Cooper Kupp, he's about $10.44 right now. If you wanted to buy a share, you buy a share of a player, and there's an IPO time frame that you buy the shares on the players on Sunday. You buy them at the IPO. Let's say you wanted 8 shares of Cooper Kupp, and you want to try to invest in the players, find the best values because players are at different dollar values. But what happens is those IPO values actually change. So where you're thinking you're getting in on maybe the ground floor, and I'm buying shares of Cooper Kupp, legit shares of Cooper Kupp that can end up paying about $25 a share back in return if Cooper Kupp is the top fantasy scorer. So it's legitimately the stock market, and then there's even trading involved. Ronas, I don't know if back when maybe you were in grade school, they had something in a business class about you just pretending to play the stock market, keeping track of the money. But this kind of reminds me of that because instead of fantasy shares, you're actually buying stock market shares against other users on the Jock Market app.
Yeah, definitely interesting and something that, you need to be sharp about and trying to find that value, but you know that other people are probably going to see the same thing you are. The price is going to go up. So that's the key here is getting it at the right price.
Let's take Justin Jefferson, for instance. You're not building a GPP lineup here. You're investing in the player. There's no lineups here. So someone like Justin Jefferson at 771, he's coming off of 2 monster performances, going up against the Dolphins here. This could be another big matchup. That price, 771, I don't think is going to stay that way. So you can buy the shares. You can buy 5 or 6 shares at $7.71. But then you better be ready to get a notification that someone just upped the value on Justin Jefferson, and you have to decide whether or not you're reinvesting. So that is Jock Market. Download the Jock Market app to get involved. You love the stock market. I mean, who does at this point with how much it's been down in recent months? But you love playing the stock market. You love sports and football. Boom. This is how you do it.
We'd like to thank Jock Market for sponsoring the Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Jock Market. Make real money every second of the game.
Rush, calls for the football. He's back. He's looking. He steps up. He lets it fly. It's intercepted by Slay. Slay looks for running room. They bang him down at the 45-yard line. Second pick of the game.
Murray steps up now. He's going to scramble now. He's going to run. He's going to pick up a first down. Ball is out. Ball is on the ground and recovering into the Seahawks. Ball was stripped away as Tariq Woolen recovers the fumble.
This is the Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every second of the game.
Week 6 highlights from their respective games, the Eagles and Seahawks radio networks on the call. We'll talk about the bad. We'll also preview Monday Night Football between the Broncos. Yep, that same Broncos team continuing to be on primetime. Are we done with this garbage after this, Ron? I don't know if you've checked this out. Is this it for them being on primetime? Or we're going to have to
My
suffer
guess
through
is
this team
no.
again?
They love Russell Wilson. Let's see.
God.
Let's look at their schedule. Oh, no. Oh, boy. They have is this a London game on the 30th? They're playing against Jacksonville. I think that's a London game. So that's prime time. And then they have 8:20 on December 11th, home to the Chiefs. That might be a flex possible spot. Then they're on Christmas against the Rams at 4:30. So, no, we get some more Denver prime time, at least 3 more.
So here's the interesting thing, and I don't know if you're still on Christmas Saturday or Sunday. Christmas is the Sunday, right? So they're only about 3 games, and then Saturday has everything. How many people do you think are going to forget to set their lineups because of the holidays and the major?
But that's playoffs, so there's less teams involved.
Right,
a playoff week, isn't it?
You better not be forgetting to set your lineups by then. Dang.
I mean, I hope I have a lot of teams in it at that time. I mean, that's week 16, so it's semis for most leagues, so semifinals. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of people who don't have to worry about it. But yeah, so there's a Thursday game that week. It's your Jets hosting Jacksonville on the 22nd, and then there's a Sunday night game on Christmas Eve. Wow, Raiders Steelers at 8:15. That is crazy. And then 3 games on Christmas: Packers Dolphins at 1, Broncos Rams at 4:30, and Bucks Cardinals at 8:20. And then the Monday night game is Chargers Colts. So, yeah. And then, of course, we got an NBA on Christmas. So it's going to be a busy weekend.
Christmas should be the NBA's day.
It should, but the NFL, they don't care, man.
They're selfish. They have to take a piece of the pie, too, and they can't give basketball. Can't wait the season starting tomorrow night, man. How pumped are you? We just had our draft this weekend.
Yeah, it snuck up, man, that the season does start tomorrow. Only 2 games. But, yeah, man, it's just like, oh, wow, okay. So at least baseball is winding down. I still got to watch a lot of the baseball playoffs.
Absolutely. Rick Kamla, who hosts Bettor Sports Live all week long, 7 p.m. Eastern, right after us here on BSN. He's actually going to join us tomorrow. And I think, Ron, we're going to be checking in with Rick just about every single Tuesday just to talk about the state of the league, what we like. Maybe if there are games going on, we'll preview those games as well. So it'll be very fun, the NBA season. We'll talk a little bit more NBA here. We love talking NBA betting. I do a lot of DFS and season-long content for FantasyAlarm.com where you can find all of our work. Let's talk about some of the awfulness that took place in week number 6 for our Sunday action, man. And when you're talking about players that really didn't perform up to standards, you can look right there at Jeff Wilson. You could also look at Kareem Hunt, who you mentioned before, and even Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Just those guys not really doing it. I needed Raheem Mostert in a league, and I know that he was a little bit banged up. And then there's James Robinson. And you were talking about Howard Bender before, and Howard and I actually were going back and forth about the situation in Jacksonville. And I was saying he had seen my stock watch video on fantasyalarm.com, the newest one for this week's up right now. But he was saying, I don't know about that, man. But again, that seesaw, just ETN, he's running better in recent games than Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, I think Robinson's more of the back when they're playing from ahead, short yardage. But they did give ETN a goal line carry on first down. He was stopped. They brought in Robinson. He was stopped. But ETN, yeah, I mean, they got to get him more touches. 10 for 86 on the ground with a 48-yard run. Robinson's longest run was 14, and ETN 2 for 22 in the pass game on 2 targets. So they need to get him the ball more in space. He's their most explosive player. So, I mean, he's yet to score a touchdown. So that's kind of what sucks if you have him in fantasy. Because, yeah, while it was a nice week, as far as, 12, 13 points, nice. But, you want that touchdown. So he does have double-digit carries in 3 of the last 4 games. Would like to see him more involved in the passing game, though.
Zeros from the wide receivers for Robbie Anderson, who's not even on his team anymore. For those that
no one played Robbie Anderson. Come on.
True, but still it's a 0. And now it's at least a note that he's on another team now. Just that, I don't know how many times we saw this before the last few years. Maybe players are just more vocal. Maybe it's just everybody's got a camera on everyone at all times so we can see these instant reactions. But frequent coaches and players yelling at each other, teammates.
It happens a lot more than people think.
Right. Even the Draymond.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it in a Washington game this year. There's always guys who fight and argue on the sidelines. It happens all the time. I mean,
Tom Brady yelling at the line and everything.
Well, Tom Brady has a lot of anger right now because he's going through a divorce. So but for real, that might be affecting him. Like, he's never been in a situation like this, right? His life has always been great. Now you're 45, you have to deal with a divorce and kids involved and all that stuff. And then he's at Kraft's wedding on Friday. I mean, I know I heard, what's his name? The coach for Tampa. His name escapes me now.
Bowles,
yeah. He was saying how, no, it's not a big deal. This happens. Players sometimes miss meetings and get excused. It's just because it's Brady and he's a bigger name. He brings all the attention, but something's not right there with Tampa. Again, you can't lose to Pittsburgh.
Here's the thing, though, man, and I know we could prognosticate whether or not what's going on in Brady's personal life is impacting his on the field play, but can you really think that they've been there? Him and Giselle have been together, probably married, if I had to estimate, about 17, 18 years, something like that. They've got kids. They've always been a strong couple. I at least think that there had to have been other underlying issues that took place, and it can't only be because Brady decided to play football and
probably, but I mean, it probably is affecting him. Like, you could say what you want. Oh, you're a professional. You can't tune certain things out. We've all been there, right? We've had personal things in our life, and it affects your job. And then they're in a bigger spotlight where people are watching, and there's a lot of scrutiny. So, and he missed a couple weeks of camp. That never happened. So we kind of knew something was up there. So I don't know if it is being a problem or maybe age is catching up or whatever it is, but that team clearly doesn't look right now.
No, it doesn't. Somebody else that hasn't really looked right for the last few weeks, and this is someone else who is just another receiver that just hasn't been great. Drake London. I thought that this was going to become one of my favorites, and just the last few weeks, he was getting the targets before this past week, but still, man, you got to see more on the yardage front.
Well, we went over what the issue is. They're not throwing the ball. Mariota's not throwing the ball. When you have 14 pass attempts, it's hard for Pitts and London to do anything. And I know Pitts was bailed out by a touchdown, but that wasn't a good game. Like Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown. Okay, that final line is still not what you want. And he's not running a lot of routes. I don't know what they're doing. He had 3 for 19 with a touchdown. Okay, great. For a tight end, 10.9, great week. he doesn't score a touchdown, we're sitting here be like, oh, here we go again. Third game this year of 19 receiving yards for Pitts. What is going on here? So the touchdown saved the criticism. But if he has another 3 for 19 next week, we're going to be back to the same story. So we're still not in the clear with Kyle Pitts, but Atlanta's not throwing a football. And part of it is they're winning games at this point. Again, no one expected this team to be 3-3. Maybe their fans did. I doubt it, unless you're like the most optimistic fan. But that's the problem. And look at their games too. As we mentioned before, they're the only team 6-0 against the spread, undefeated against the spread right now. They lost in week 1 by 1. They lost in week 2 by 4. Now they were down big in that game and had to play from behind against the Rams. They beat Seattle by 4. They beat the Browns by 3. Even the Tampa game, they were down 21-0. They lost by 6. And then this game, they played from ahead. So if they're going to have game scripts like that, they're not going to let Mariota throw. They're going to be like, all right, we'll just, they had a defensive touchdown too in this game. So that helped. So you really have to hope that so they're at Cincinnati. Okay.
Not the easiest matchup for a guy like Drake London.
What would you think the spread is? I don't know. I'm looking it up now. My guess is Bengals by 5 would be my guess.
I'd say that's fair. The gamblers are now on
-6 Bengals. So damn.
How much of the money's coming in on Atlanta right now?
I haven't seen. It's too early, I think, for that.
Because you got to anticipate it's going to be something like 60-40 Atlanta.
Probably. People are going to look, against the spread, they're undefeated. And the Bengals haven't really looked great this year. So, yeah, I could see people going to Atlanta on that one.
London, 2 for 3 receptions his last few weeks, single-digit production for him. So, yeah, they're not going to throw. That's going to be a problem. You mentioned it before. You identified it nicely with the Jets. Jets are going to have to throw a little bit, and we're used to the Joe Flacco experience from earlier in the season where he was throwing 40, 50 passes. It's not that, and they figured out that Breece Hall, like you said, is good. That's just another one of those frustrating teams. Other players that put up frustrating-like performances, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, George Pickens, who I thought was going to have, I know that Kenny Pickett got knocked out with the concussion as well. Trubisky comes back in to that game. And then from Thursday, we had Terry McLaurin with the poor game. Mike Evans just, again, dude, I don't know. I have no words for that. That prop stood out to me clearly, like instantly, when I began looking at the books on Friday. It just did not make sense. Deontay Johnson, not a good game. And then how about this one? Someone who's been getting targeted a lot, Ron. Tyler Higby with just a reception. That's it. And this big list. And look who's on the list as well, by the way. Taysom Hill on the list of fantasy losers for the week for all that try to turn Taysom Hill into a thing.
Look, here's the thing with Taysom Hill. I think he's still going to be a 10 in the tight end range of 10 to 14 because, yeah, he had a down week, and we spoke about it last week. The floor is going to be low. But that's the same case with every tight end in that vicinity, right? Higby was ranked as a top 5 tight end for most this week. He had an ankle injury and was on the injury report, and, they actually threw the ball to Allen Robinson, who had a good game with Skoranek, so I think that's partly what it was. He also played less snaps, so maybe the ankle was bothering him. But when you start to get past those tight ends, they all have, Irv Smith scored a touchdown. He didn't do nothing else, right? So I'm going to play Taysom Hill over a lot of these tight ends. I know Tonyan had a good week, but do you really think that's going to continue every week? We've been through this. So Dawson Knox had a good week. Again, a competitive matchup. I thought he could have a good game. I think I had him in the top 15 this week. Conklin is useless now. Right. I know Gesicki had 2 touchdowns, but you can't count on that. New England's 2 tight ends. Jonnu was back, looked pretty good. I know Henry scored, but they kind of pull it. They hurt each other. I guess Hayden Hurst, you want to put above Taysom? Okay, I'm fine with that. Njoku actually had 1 big play, but ran less routes. Freiermuth was out, but most weeks you're going to count. There's once you get past the top 10, what case can you make for those tight ends over Taysom Hill? Because the floor is just as low for him as it is the others. His ceiling is higher, though, because if they give him a couple carries at the goal line and he scores, or he throws a touchdown pass, or catches one, he's going to have a good week.
I can really think of only 4 reliable tight ends week in, week out.
2. There's only 2.
Well, that number So the two, I mean, obviously
Andrews, Kelsey, that's it.
Right. What I mean, Ertz is right now, but
well, let's see. Yeah, let's see what happens when Hopkins comes back. Although with Hollywood Brown out, maybe it still helps them, and they play from behind because they suck. So maybe, but yeah, I mean, I don't even know if we could put Higby there now. I want to say yes to Kittle, but the problem with Kittle is if they're ahead, they have him block a lot. Like Kittle is one of the most talented tight ends in football. It's just the way the 49ers deploy him. Now, this week it worked out if you had Kittle because they fell behind 14-0 and they were forced to pass. But the 49ers don't want to pass 40-plus times a game. They don't want to.
No. But what about Darren Waller? Where do we put him in all this?
Before he got hurt, I was saying how like no one really talked about Waller, but he's been a major disappointment too.
Yeah. He had the good week against Arizona, and then it's funny. He had
one touchdown on the year.
Bro,
his last two games, he had the 0, but it got hurt early. I'll take that out. Yeah. 3 for 24 against Denver, 3 for 22 against Tennessee. Those are his last two games. He had the touchdown against Arizona, as you mentioned, 6 for 50, and then week 1, 4 for 79. But he's had 2 awful games that put him in the conversation with the other crappy tight ends, and then got hurt early and never came back and got you a 0. So, and I have him in one league, and it sucks. So, I mean, if he's active, you're playing him every week,
right?
But you might get to the point where you're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore because now I'm just drafting based on name and reputation. But that's the other thing too. We don't even know if he's going to play this week. It was a hamstring, right? He's had 2 weeks off, but not a lock that he even plays this week.
No, I'll say this. Maybe one of the worst plays I've seen this year was, and we've talked about this, was when he was facing the Titans. Not wide open in the end zone, but there was that ball was clearly seen. There was no one in his face, and the ball comes in and boof, bounces right off his head, right off the helmet. I don't know if you remember that one, but because I was really on the Raiders, I forgot how much they were favored by against the Titans, and I needed that touchdown. And yeah, but just with Darren Waller, it's just weird seeing a bunch of single-digit performances. I know that you, by the way, tend to look at points per game rather than total points. But when you see something like you just talked about with Darren Waller having just a 0, let's say you have a player that leaves the game instantly, like a T. Higgins, for instance, it's unfortunate because it really does take down that average a little bit. And it could be a little bit.
You just if you're writing about it, you just note that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, his points per game is this, but let's not forget T. Higgins only played 10 snaps in week 5 and left the game early. So as long as it's highlighted.
Let's go to our roaming reporter, Adam Ronis, on the baseball scene for tonight's Game 5 between the Guardians and the Yankees. Ronis, what's the weather looking like?
The game will start in a delay. The Yankees just announced it. They will not start at 7. So don't know when, but we're probably looking at like a 9 p.m. start. 9:30 maybe is my guess. It sounds like the Yankees were pushing to play tomorrow. Cleveland didn't. Some of the things I'm seeing, but I don't know why would want that, because I'm assuming they're not going to move the start of the ALCS, which is supposed to start Wednesday in Houston. So this is good for Houston, obviously. But yeah, looking at the forecast, I see 50 to 60% chance of rain from 7 to 10 p.m. in New York. So I guess the good thing about that is get to watch most of the football game, and then I'll have both on. That's what I did last night too. I had the Cowboys on TV and the Yankees on the laptop. So I'll do that.
Yeah, by the way, and the People's Board Op, our producer, Jared Moore, is saying, according to MLB PR, there will be a
Yankees tweeted it out that they will not starting at 7 p.m. So unless the Yankees are lying, and that's an organization I wouldn't trust, Jared. You're right. They're liars. So maybe the Yankees lied. Or maybe the intern hit the wrong button. Yeah. Whoever controls the account.
The intern. We have interns here? Seriously?
No, I'm saying it for the Yankees.
Oh,
the Yankees tweeted out 3 minutes ago, tonight's ALDS Game 5 will begin in a delay. The forecast will be reassessed at 7 Eastern, and we will provide updates as available. and it is their real account because they have 3.7 million followers.
Dang, there you go. Okay, and Jared.
No,
now you're getting pissed off at us.
No, I just saw someone tweet. Was it Joel Sherman says no tarp on the field and no rain in the Bronx at the moment? That's what I was replying to.
Interesting.
Now I see above, but I was replying to the Joel Sherman thing. I'm like, it doesn't matter what he said.
The show chat, very interesting. By the way, one question on that: the whole Rizzo blocking first base when whoever it was that was leading, and he used his ankle to block the base, so he couldn't get his hand on the base. I think that's totally legal. If he's able to do that and play,
no, you're allowed to do that. Who did it? Someone did it. Oh, I think it was the Mets a couple weeks ago, on a play. I'm like, oh, he's safe. And I saw Luis Guillermo. He did a great job of having his foot block the bag, and then I'm like, oh wow, the hand didn't get back in. Yeah, you can block.
Because I thought that whoever it was that was on first that they called safe. I thought they were clearly out.
Jose Ramirez when he dove
I
back.
Forget who it was. I forget who it was, but I just saw that.
The one that they reviewed and overturned. That one.
I forget. I really do forget now. Dang. Now I was watching it very quickly, and I just saw that Rizzo blocked the bag when the throw to first base from the pitcher. Rizzo blocked the bag, and the hand was on the ankle, Rizzo's ankle in the bag, and he was still called safe. And someone said something about blocking the base or something like that, and I never heard anything like that. The broadcast started talking about that. There's no rule that you can't.
That's home plate.
Okay, well, this was at first base, and I thought he was clearly out. So I didn't know if there was some rule, some other.
Maybe we're thinking a different play.
I'm pretty sure we were. So yeah, Jared Moore, you can't block home plate. I'm not thinking home plate. I'm thinking first base.
He said Rizzo, first base. Do you even know your team, Jared?
Yeah, not home plate, first base. He's excited for the delay. It's okay.
Yeah.
He's excited for the game. We'll let him slide with that. Well, producers, please just let us know right now in the chat, because everybody needs to know. If the Yankees do lose tonight, are you guys still going to show up to work tomorrow? You can let us know in the chat, because everybody needs to know if the playbook is going to air tomorrow, Roan, because the Yankees lose. Okay, good. At least Jared's going to be there. I don't know about AB, the resource. He may be. He's saying, boom, we're 2 for 2. See, even if our teams lose, we still show up because it's all about you. Let's talk Monday Night Football. Let's talk props. Let's talk expectations. Let's talk about whether or not this game is going to suck. It is the Playbook, powered by FantasyAlarm.com, and it's sponsored by Jock Market here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, sponsored by Jock Market. Stay in the game. It's Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Moose and Keith with you. Let's welcome aboard right now, Iron Eagle.
One of the great stories that I have from doing notes on a plane, and you always get people looking over. They see color-coded uniform numbers, names, height, weight, age, background, hometown. And I had a woman sitting next to me on a flight, and I'm doing my notes, and she's kind of giving the look, then looking. And I can tell she's looking. And then finally, she'll say, so what is it that you do? Well, what do you think I do? She said, are you a wedding planner? I said, yes. I said, I have to put Rob Gronkowski at Tom Brady's table. I said, you know what? You're not correct, but it's the best answer I've ever heard.
That's great.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
As far as fantasy executive, it's going to be a football life. The fantasy executive is probably going to be the best football life ever.
Who will be the guest? Everyone who was on yesterday, basically.
Yeah, everybody that's on yesterday will be the guest. Scott Ingram, you know what I'm saying? Adam Ronis. Yeah, everybody, those people. Because what Nando, obviously you'll be there. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to the GST and shoot some scenes. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be nice.
We'll shoot some scenes in Midtown Manhattan. Antonio Brown can be on my football life,
That'd
right?
Be nice.
Because that's a big part of my come up as a fantasy analyst. Everybody, the football life, the fantasy executive is going to be for the people. When they do the football life on the fantasy executive, I'm going to be hands on.
Good. Yeah. You talking to you.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Cheetos or Doritos?
I truly love both. Cool Ranch Doritos. I grew up on Cheetos. I was a big Chester Cheetah guy.
Oh, nice.
But Ray, as I have aged into adulthood, I've moved away from the fun that is the Cheeto, and I've gone to the, more cosmopolitan Cool Ranch Dorito chip. So I'm probably a Cool Ranch guy. How about you?
I would go Doritos. I don't like Cool Ranch. The traditional, original, regular, whatever it is really good. But my favorite's actually the sweet chili, the purple bag. Oh, it's delicious. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the one that sucks, and I think we can all agree on this one, taco.
Yeah.
I know a lot of things, and I'm perfect at a lot of things. My Dorito trivia is a little shaky.
Okay.
A little shaky, but I think taco is the first flavor.
It's a handoff to Eckler, and he's got a lane. 30, 35, 40. Go, Eckler, go. 40, 30, 20. He's running out of gas at the 10, at the 5, and he is caught at the 3 by Greg Newsome that caught up with him, 72 yards.
Anytime you get a primetime game, man, it's another opportunity to show the world what you got, another opportunity to get so much exposure because everyone's watching that one game, right? There's just a big spotlight on their back. And so maybe because I'm a night person, and so it's like maybe I'm a little bit more awake at night, like real talk. I don't even know. But for whatever, I just love playing at night.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game.
Adam Ronis, what is one thing that you and Austin Eckler have in common?
We get a lot of women. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. We nighttime people. What?
Never mind.
Nighttime people, man. That's
right.
like me. And that's the thing, man, is I don't play softball at night anymore. I used to play under the lights. That was so much fun. Now I have to and I had a good year, and I've been having a year. Maybe I'd be even better if I played more at night. I have to play at like 9 a.m. on Sundays during the summer, and I get hardly any sleep. I don't eat before I play, which is a problem, and I still am good. So, damn, if I played at night, that's true. I loved even last year a couple times I played at 6 p.m. Love it, man. Got more energy.
Such a morning guy, man. And
I despise mornings. Hate waking up early, man. Got no energy in the morning. I'm up late. I mean, I was up late Saturday watching baseball and good college football on Saturday too, the Alabama-Tennessee.
I saw you tweeting about college football. I was like, there you go, Roan.
I don't watch every college football game, but if there's a big game on, I'll watch it.
You've got enough sports to watch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look, Saturday's got to be a break at some point, right? I mean, if you're watching basketball and baseball and doing football content all week, you got to have one day where you can, do something. So it tends to be Saturday during the football season. And yet even then I still have to do updates with the rankings. Again, it doesn't take a long time, but certain Saturdays, there's a lot of news breaking. So yeah, I mean, if I'm home or around a TV, I'm definitely going to tune in. And that obviously was a huge game.
Yeah, you do need a break. Even we love sports. We love working in sports. Even if it's a period of like 6 hours, Roan, we need a break.
I'll take 2 hours at this point with the way this thing goes.
Yeah, like half a day. So like some people say, even in the football season, I know some people that are like, oh, I'm totally taking off on Saturday. You can't take off on Saturday. You write rankings, you can't take off Saturday.
Yeah, you get
DFS betting content, you can't take off Saturday.
Yeah, there's still stuff going on, and there'll be baseball playoffs for another couple weeks, and then NBA on Saturday.
Even you just said it. Taylor and Hines ruled out on Saturday. So
I had to make the changes
the week before.
I mean, I could have.
Gabe
Yeah, there's always something. There's always something on Saturday. I mean, I could. It depends. If I'm out, then obviously I can't make the changes. But if I'm home or around, I want to get to it ASAP, so I don't forget either. Right. That's the other. You don't want to. I mean, I won't forget. But
you also do something interesting. You leave very questionable players out of your rankings. So
it depends. It depends, though. It's a judgment call on a lot of them. So, I know earlier who did I leave out most of the week, and I had to put it maybe McKenzie. I think
you did. Yeah, we talked about.
And then there was someone else too that I had to input on Saturday. Oh, man, who was it? I can't remember now. And then Schultz was a big surprise inactive. I had him in all week.
and you didn't have a backup tight end or your backup tight end play, there were probably people who got 0 with Schultz last night because that was a little surprising.
Yeah,
we knew he was banged up and he wasn't good the week before, so I had him ranked lower than usual. But I'm sure there were people who got stuck with a 0 by Schultz last night.
By the way, and we full team here effort. I have not seen any kind of confirmation on Melvin Gordon playing. Have you? I feel like I haven't seen anything.
But there's been no report. Well, the inactives are not out yet. They will be. They're usually out before we leave. But I got to tell you about this boost.
Ooh, that's right. The boost. Here we go.
Okay. I want the opinions from everyone. I don't see how you don't play this, but I do see some stats that are concerning. Justin Herbert, 1 touchdown or more, plus 100. Now, the Denver Broncos this year have allowed only 3 passing touchdowns. 2 to Geno Smith in week 1, 0 to Davis Mills, 1 to Garoppolo, 0 to Carr, and 0 to Ryan. So you want to tell me, well, they really haven't played anyone. Carr with 0, kind of surprising. Mills, not surprising. Ryan, not surprising. I mean, that was that Thursday night ugly game. I think you got to play this one, right? But now I'm really worried that this is a trap because I think, how do you not play this? He's got 10 on the season and he has at least 1 in all 5 games.
And it doesn't have to be passing. He can run it in.
No, it's passing.
It is
1
passing.
or more.
Okay.
He only needs 1 plus 100. It's a max bet of 25 to win 50.
Well, I guess
how do you not do it?
Well, here's a question then. How are you? Let's break it down even further then. How are you feeling about Mike Williams with Keenan Allen sidelined still?
Not good because he's probably going to see a lot of Surtain.
Right. So now you're relying on you need Eckler to catch some passes. So which he could do. And then you need Everett, who I checked this earlier today. Denver, not great against they are good against tight ends, right? They are good.
They've been good defensively this year.
So it's
overall
tough, man. You know, one of the things that you talked about before the season started, and I tried to shift my analysis to think about this. Teams that I feel at least can play slow, can slow down the game a little bit. I'm wondering if Denver can do that with the Chargers tonight, and that's what scares me off of this boost. You would think, Herbert's touchdown. Yeah.
Like, you got it. I think you have to play it. Denver's middle of the pack in plays per game, 16.
Okay. I mean, look.
Chargers are top 7. I don't know, man. Like, I think that's kind of a no-brainer to play it, but I always get worried because these boosts scare me. But that one just seems too obvious, man.
Yeah. When it looks too obvious, it doesn't come through, man.
I mean, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks with no passing touchdowns this year, but Herbert, every game has at least 1. Why wouldn't he do it here?
Like you said, Denver hasn't surrendered a lot of touchdowns.
3, but look who they went against, though. It's not like Davis Mills, that's not surprising. I mean, they gave up 2 to Geno Smith in week 1, and I know that was an emotional game, and it was in Seattle, but Geno's playing better than we thought. I mean, Carr not to have 1 was surprising.
Right. Yeah,
and then, I mean, Jimmy G with 1. I mean, to me, this is like you have to take the boost bias out of it, but I don't see that. To me is a no-brainer to play. Doesn't mean it's going to cash, but
you still seem a little hesitant.
I mean, and if I lose, it's a $25 max bet. I lost 50 on the Josh Allen, but the Josh Allen was over 1.5.
Yes.
Like if I told you Josh Allen 1 touchdown or more plus 100, you're going to make that bet every time, right?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Just like if I see the prop Josh Allen over 297.5 passing yards, I'd say about 85.
Yeah, but that's not a no-brainer because game script can change that.
Sure. For him, I think though that there are going to be games where he's just going to be throwing a lot, even with a big lead. But you're right. It's not a lock or anything like that.
Well, Josh Allen is like kind of giving people the biggest advantage in fantasy right now, especially if you got him in the 4th or 5th round. So it's insane the numbers he's putting up right now. He's got 17 touchdowns in 6 games, man.
Yeah.
And there were people who drafted this guy in round 4.
Right. I think I have some
Do you know how many wide receivers in round 4 are absolute garbage right now?
Pretty much every single one I can think of.
McLaurin, Mooney, Robinson.
There's a lot.
I'll say this about Mooney, though. We talked about this. I almost put Mooney in the stock watch, but then I said I slapped myself in the head, and I said, passing game.
Are you playing Darnell Mooney against New England next week?
I'm scared of that. I'm very scared.
After
seeing what they did to the Lions, I'm not. Nothing's automatic anymore when it comes to
Belichick against Fields.
Yeah,
that is that could be ugly. And as good as Mooney was last week, it's the first game he's had double-digit targets, and it was Washington. So,
right, everyone looked like
I might have to start him too in a couple leagues because of the Hollywood Brown injury and the bye. So,
I'm sorry.
I guess I'll prepare for a 0 for Mooney.
a 1 for 6 from Darnell Mooney on 3 targets. When Fields throws the ball about 22 times in that game,
they might not have no choice but to throw if they fall behind.
Right. So weird. The Patriots. We're talking like the Patriots, like they're a good team. The Jets, the Giants. It's what a year. What about this spread here with the Chargers favored by 4? This was, I have to play this in the season-long betting contest. I would not touch this game from a betting standpoint if I didn't have to for the season-long contest.
Yeah, for my weekly poll, I took Denver. I see everyone's on the Chargers, and again, this is what did we last see with Denver? That ugly Thursday night game. What is everyone saying about Denver? Oh, this offense stinks. Russell Wilson stinks. He's hurt. Hackett's a terrible coach. This is a divisional game, and they tend to be close. So I'm taking the dog here. And the other thing is, again, with Denver, they are moving the ball offensively. They are stalling in the red zone. At some point, they will find a way to score in the red zone. Don't know if it's tonight. And the Chargers usually not great as a favorite. What if Surtain is able to take Mike Williams out? Does that change things? The running game, hasn't been great. I know Eckler had a big game last week. That's the Browns. They're ranked last in DVOA.
Right.
So I think this game is going to be close. And everyone I see picking this game is taking the Chargers, man. And this line opened at like 6, 5.5, and is moving the other way, yet most of the money's coming in on the Chargers. So I'm taking Denver with the points to keep this close, maybe win. But we have seen the Chargers as a favorite. It usually doesn't work out well for them.
75% of the money I'm seeing on the Chargers for this game.
That is alarming to me.
Yeah.
So I would take Denver with the points.
I was looking up some.
And also, Denver, as much as we crushed them this year, they have been very competitive in all the games. They've only lost by more than 3, I believe, one time. Let me double check that. They lost to the Colts by 3. Okay, they lost by 9 to the Raiders, beat San Fran by 1, beat Texans by 7, and lost to Seattle by 1. So
they've given up like the fewest amount. I know that there are other teams that have played now an extra game over them and stuff, but assuming, like, let's just say I tack on 17 to 20 points, they've still given up about almost the least amount of points in the AFC.
Yeah, they've allowed 80 points. San Fran 89. Cowboys have allowed 98. Texans 99, but they had a bye. Bills 81. So yeah, they're right there. That's the thing, is their defense has played well. It's clear why they're losing. They've scored 75 points in 5 games, and they can't convert in the red zone, which is why I was considering looking at McManus props. Most of the time these field goal props are 1.5 field goals. I know I mentioned McPherson. Did McPherson hit it? I don't even know.
Yeah, I was thinking about you. I was throwing that.
Did he how many field goals did the Bengals get?
I'll look there.
Oh, wait, 7-7. No, they had, where is it? He had 1. Oh, he didn't get it. Good thing I didn't play it.
Yeah,
because they scored touchdowns.
Yeah.
But he was 1-1 from 52 yards. Lutz went over.
You know what I think is better to bet, Ronas, than field goals? Maybe just points. You see a lot of like 6.5 or 5.5.
Yeah.
And at least you take advantage from the extra points.
Well, his McManus kicking point to 6.5. The problem with that is they don't score much. The reason why I would consider it is they stole in the red zone. And I also have him on a couple of fantasy teams, so I need some points tonight. Let me see. I want to see his game, because
they move the football. That's not the problem. He has had at least 2 field goals in every. Oh no, he didn't do it against San Fran. That was the 11-10 game though. He won it 2, and against Vegas he was 1-1. Last week he had 3 field goals. He had 3 against Houston and 3 against Seattle. So it's not a bad bet. I probably won't play it just in case they do figure out the red zone woes and find the end zone tonight. But I like Denver with the points. As far as props.
Wait, you know what? Let's leave him hanging on the line a little bit, Roan. Because maybe there's a prop. Maybe there's one that I think is okay just for this game. We were just freaking talking about kickers props here. But let's talk about one prop that I'm into. Also, big announcement, your chance, another giveaway. When's that giveaway going to happen? Find out, because this is the Playbook powered by FantasyAlarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market here on Bettor Sports Network.
Don't miss the Playbook, presented by FantasyAlarm.com, weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Sponsored by Jock Market. Stay in the game. The Playbook with Fenstein and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game.
For those that love the stock market, it's a very interesting way on how to include essentially fantasy sports and statistics when it comes to investing into players. We say it all the time that we have shares of players. Well, you legitimately buy shares when you download the Jock Market app. And when you buy shares of a player, like for instance, I'm seeing in the most recent one, Cooper Kupp, he's about $10.44 right now. If you wanted to buy a share, you buy a share of a player, and there's an IPO time frame that you buy the shares on the players on Sunday. You buy them at the IPO. Let's say you wanted 8 shares of Cooper Kupp, and you want to try to invest in the players, find the best values, because players are at different dollar values. But what happens is those IPO values actually change. So where you're thinking you're getting in on maybe the ground floor, and I'm buying shares of Cooper Kupp, legit shares of Cooper Kupp, that can end up paying about $25 a share back in return if Cooper Kupp is the top fantasy scorer. So it's legitimately the stock market, and then there's even trading involved. Ronis, I don't know if back when maybe you were in grade school, they had something in a business class about you just pretending to play the stock market, keeping track of the money. But this kind of reminds me of that, because instead of fantasy shares, you're actually buying stock market shares against other users on the Jock Market app.
Yeah, definitely interesting, and something that you need to be sharp about and trying to find that value. But you know that other people are probably going to see the same thing you are. The price is going to go up. So that's the key here, is getting it at the right price.
Let's take Justin Jefferson, for instance. You're not building a GPP lineup here. You're investing in the player. There's no lineups here. So someone like Justin Jefferson at 771, he's coming off of 2 monster performances, going up against the Dolphins here. This could be another big matchup. That price, 771, I don't think is going to stay that way. So you can buy the shares. You can buy 5 or 6 shares at $7.71. But then you better be ready to get a notification that someone just upped the value on Justin Jefferson, and you have to decide whether or not you're reinvesting. So that is Jock Market. Download the Jock Market app to get involved. You love the stock market. I mean, who does at this point with how much it's been down in recent months? But you love playing the stock market. You love sports and football. Boom. This is how you do it.
We'd like to thank Jock Market for sponsoring the Playbook with Fenstein and Ronis. Jock Market. Make real money every second of the game. The Playbook with Fenstein and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com, sponsored by Jock Market. Stay in the game.
What's great about Bettor Sports Network is we provide a lot of opportunities for you to not only get help, opportunities for you to not only chat with us right there, real time. I mean, some of you were going at Ronis before, and we were talking, and what happens, Ronis addresses what you're saying in the chat about the Cowboys with Cooper Rush being an exciting team. So with that, I thought that was very interesting, and that's what we do here on Bettor Sports Network. But also, we do giveaways. We have you call in at certain times, and you get autographed memorabilia. It's awesome. Some of the things we've given away have been incredible, even to some of our better fans that tune into the playbook every single weekday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. But tomorrow you can listen to Moose and Keith, 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow for your chance to win. How about this, Roan? An Allen Iverson signed Sixers jersey. We be talking about practice, man. Not a game. A jersey.
Yeah, that is pretty good, man. Definitely interested in that.
Jeez, I'm so jealous of all of you. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, someone, a fan of the playbook. We've had you win before. A fan of the playbook has to win this Allen Iverson jersey. You're going to tune into Moose and Keith tomorrow. To be eligible, you must download the free Bettor Sports Network app, register, and be listening tomorrow live, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, courtesy of gettingthegame.com and Bettor Sports Network. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or over. Winners of the last 90 days, unfortunately, are ineligible. But an Allen Iverson jersey. Man, Allen Iverson, dude, he changed the NBA. He made the shoot first point guard even more popular. It became the way for a while after he first came in, man, because you saw everybody when they remember Allen Iverson. You remember the rookie when he was a rookie, how he crossed over, Jordan broke his ankles. But then as he started to mature, I don't think I ever saw anyone go off the glass, even the side of the glass with the ball, those extended layups he would make. I don't know how Iverson used to do it, Roan, and he always had at least 6 injuries whenever he played.
He's not the biggest guy, that's why.
Yeah, no, always, because he always attacked. He always attacked the rim. But that, come on, man. We talk about some of the best and most memorable practice, press conferences afters, post-game pressers. The practice one was incredible. That one is top 10 for me.
It will live forever. Everyone knows it. And people, they kind of wear it out sometimes whenever there's a practice issue. It's like, okay, we get it. But, yeah, it's so famous, so I understand why.
It's like the Jim Mora playoffs. Talking about playoffs.
The inactives are out for tonight's game. Nothing surprising. I don't think anyone is playing this guy anyway, but Albert O is inactive as Greg Dulcich, the rookie, will play tonight. So
watch him have 3 touchdowns.
Maybe, but man, yeah, Albert O is really talented, and my goodness, man, we kind of saw the signs in the preseason. They left him in one of the preseason games in the third quarter, and the reports weren't good. But man, they really don't like Albert O, clearly, in Denver.
Nothing. So Melvin Gordon is playing.
He's active, yeah.
Okay.
The Chiefs center, though, Lindsley, is inactive due to illness.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So let's talk some props very quickly. A couple of ones that stood out a little bit. This one may be my favorite because if Mike Williams, if he matches up against Surtain, then that's going to be a problem for his 69.5 receiving yards. What about our guy Cortland Sutton, though? Over 67.5 receiving yards. Out of all the props, that one stood out to me as a maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much liked Sutton all year, drafted him, played some of his props. I think also his longest reception of over 25.5 is not bad. He's gone over that in 4 or 5 games. His 51, 34, 35, and 30. The one week he didn't was Vegas, where his longest was 18. And the Chargers are a little susceptible against wide receivers. They allowed Adams for 141 yards, 85 to Zay Jones, 72 to Kirk, 82 to Nico Collins, 76 to Cooper. So, yeah, Cortland Sutton's always the guy that I look at for Denver in the passing game. And did have a season-long prop, too, on his over 890 yards. And he's got 417 through 5.
I thought it was 100 yards more than that. It was the line was 899.
Yeah, I think I took it in the FSA. I know I took him and Pittman. Pittman was like around 1,000.
Oh, Pittman. What a game for Pittman, by the way. 13 receptions. You got to like that. I mean, I know for him, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride. He was hurt as well, so you got to factor that in. But you're right, man. I mean, he wasn't a 4th round receiver, Pittman, but he was still he was probably early 3rd. By the
third, or if you were me, you took him in 2 drafts in round 2.
Hey, if you like the guy, you got to go after the guy. That's at the end of the day. What is average draft position? That's all it is. It's the average. It's not the way necessarily. But we'll have to go over some of that. What about these Melvin Gordon props I have here? Any interest at all in the over 14.5 receiving yards? It just seems low.
The problem I have with Melvin Gordon is, what if he fumbles early? What if the neck is bothering him and they go to Mike Boone, who I thought looked good? So that's my only concern about Melvin Gordon right now. Because, it makes sense, at least receiving-wise.
It's just a low number, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone – was it 14.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone over in 2 of the last 3. Obviously, he should be the main back early. He had 18 touches last week. Did have 3 for 49. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But, again, I'm just a little concerned if he fumbles early or Boone shows a little bit more than him. Do they say, all right, we're sticking with Boone?
Yeah, that is a little bit
and
of
also Latavius Murray is here this week. How do they use him?
Jeez, just it'll be life after Javonte Williams. This is what we're dealing with right now. What do you think the score is going to be? I'm going to say that it's going to be – I'm going to go 20-17 Broncos.
I'll say 23-20.
Okay, there we go. So that's what we're looking at, 3-point games here. What about the Yankee game? What do you think the score of that game is going to be? You think the Yanks pull it out? Nice comeback.
Cleveland 8, Yankees nothing.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. Look, this is going to be a bullpen game for both teams. I can't see Savali going deep. I know the Yankees have hit him this year. Tyone obviously is used to being a starter, but has been in the bullpen the last couple weeks. Are they going to go to Holmes tonight? I would think yes. I know they didn't use him back-to-back over the weekend, and a lot of Yankee fans were upset. So I lean the Yankees here as much as I don't want to see them win. But, I think they have the ability to put up runs with one swing of the bat. Cleveland doesn't have enough power. I do think Cleveland has the edge in the bullpen, though. I do.
Winner faces Houston in the ALCS, which, look, the Yankees make it. We're going to have an exciting ALCS. This NLCS, you brought it up before, just shocking. No Braves, no Mets, no Dodgers in the NLCS.
Think about this. We had 3 100-win teams in the NLCS. None of them are even playing in the NLCS. Right. So, and I had a big argument with Sells on Twitter over there. He's telling me,
I saw that.
Dude, he's telling me, the Phillies did what they needed to do to get in. They finished strong. Check the numbers, bro. They were 8-13 over the last 21 and 4-8 over the last 12. They backed in. Milwaukee played like garbage. Like, they didn't do anything to get in. They backed in and they had 87 wins. So, look, the Padres have good pitching. They got hot. I guess as Mets fans, we don't feel as bad right now, right? They went through the Mets. They beat the Dodgers, a 111-win team. I think the Padres win this series. They're at home, and that top 3, I mean, Philly starter in game 3, Suarez, and that Padres bullpen is lights out right now. Suarez, Hader, Garcia, and Martinez.
They all have red hot on their ears. That's why.
Yeah, I guess.
Drowning out the noise there. I can't believe this. The Padres versus the Phillies? What the hell?
No one picked this before the playoffs. No one. And if you did, show me the ticket, because you did not.
We want receipts if you did. This is crazy. We got Rick Campbell coming up next for Bettor Sports Live, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, and then Ed Rouse for Monday Night Rants, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the baseball as well. Our baseball game is going to get a little delayed, though, between the Yankees and the Guardians. Big-time game 5. For those that have players and their matches hanging in the balance, good luck. Let us know how it goes tomorrow, and make sure you go to fantasyalarm.com for all of your needs, including the start of basketball season. It's going to be great, Rome. NBA, our sport, it's back. Just more work to dominate, man, and we're going to be winning. It's going to be great. So thank all of you out there. We thank the resource, Adam Bernard. We thank Jared Moore as well. Good luck. Let's win. The playbook has closed.